What's up everyone? Welcome to another super windy episode today, so I hope you can hear me. Today I'm taking my UCI illegal Daccordi X-Klein Concept steel bike out on a little ride, and I thought I'd use this opportunity to talk a little bit about this bike, where it comes from, what it means for me when I'm taking it out, and so on. So I think around 2 years ago I was looking for a steel frame to rather build up a budget winter bike for myself. So I was hunting on the local Berlin eBay, which is similar to something like Craigslist, for a steel frame in my size. So I didn't know anything about brands that make good steel frames. So I randomly found a bike in okay condition, I would say, from a company called Daccordi. And I think it was like 450 euros, 500 euros for the complete bike. I went, checked it out. It had a seat post, but I thought it's not going to be that much of a problem to get that out. Wheels haven't been great, group set wasn't great, but I thought, yeah, whatever. I mean, it's just going to be a winter bike, so I'll take it. The price was fine. So then I brought it home, and then actually getting that seat post out was quite a mission. It required two people, one holding the seat post, the other one rotating the frame around the seat post to have a little bit more leverage. The seat tube and the seat post that was seized in there got ridiculously hot, but I think it took like half an hour, 40 minutes, and we got it out. So I quickly disassembled the bike completely to get the naked frame. I sold actually all of the components except the frame. So I think that in the end, that frame only did cost me like 200 euros maybe. It had a couple of issues with the cable stops. So I had to find a local steel bike builder to help me fix it up. So I brought it over to him. He renewed the cable stops for I think like 20 bucks. Super nice guy. He was actually the one who told me, or who was very surprised about the weight of this frame. And when I was asking him if it would be possible to build something that's even lighter than this, not knowing anything about steel at that point, he said that, maybe in theory it would be possible, but it would be ridiculously expensive. And he told me that I really found a very interesting and outstanding frame here. So now knowing with that information that I potentially found something special here on this frame, I actually decided to get it repainted because I wasn't really the biggest fan of the original paint job. But I again found somebody on my local eBay or the local Craigslist who actually does bike paint jobs. He painted it, I think, for, like 150 or 200 euros, so also not super expensive, but at this point kind of almost the value of the frame, or what I paid for the frame. I got it painted in just classical black, and then I started setting it up with the components. And it went through a couple of iterations, from in the beginning being a very basic bike. It already had the Dura-Ace 9000, so the silver one back then, which I really liked, up until becoming this bike that you now know with the Dura-Ace 9100, which I really love. I have to say that this, that shifting gears on the 9100 being a mechanical group set, it is, I would say, 95% there when it comes to snappiness compared to electronic shifting. Like the lever travel is super, super short. It's always super snappy, always on point. So if you're somebody who's not a fan of electronic shifting, but you want the crispiness of electronic shifting while still using cables, definitely have a look at the Dura-Ace 9100 group set. For me, it was a big difference when it comes to the 9100 compared to the 9000 itself. And now this bike is become this lightweight project because I just want to challenge myself just to see how light can I build a steel framed bike. I know that it might not make that much sense to use a rather rigid steel frame as a base and then put a bunch of maybe not so rigid and delicate carbon components around it. But it was mainly a project. So even with all those delicate carbon components, this is not a bike that's just sitting at home. It's actually a bike that's being actively ridden. As you know, I've also taken this bike out to Mallorca and pretty much almost this setup except the carbon crank. And I was riding all those climbs and all those descents with it with rim brakes. So it is possible. And I have to say, I loved it. So for me, at least what I imagine is I compare this bike to maybe an old water-cooled Porsche 911. So it is something that maybe isn't your daily driver. So you're not taking it out to get your groceries with it, but you take it out on rather those special trips that have some meaning to it. And this is what this bike is for me. So whenever I take it out, I know it's going to be a special day. The ride feel is definitely different than anything else that I've ridden so far. And I just love it. It's really an experience on its own. And I think I can only motivate anybody to keep your eyes open. Look for retro steel frames. It doesn't necessarily need to be one of those super light ones. Like, don't worry about it if it's a little bit heavier. But I would say give those retro steel frames a try, build them up, because the experience is just, quite a bit different and very special in comparison to a lot of the stuff that you're riding today. And if you build it up yourself with some modern or even some retro components to keep it in the time frame that the frame was built up, it's going to be your bike. You're going to have a strong emotional connection to it. This is going to motivate you to ride more often with it. It's going to make it more of a special experience when you're in the saddle. So I think these are my closing words for this slightly different episode, but I hope you still enjoyed it. I definitely enjoyed it because I still have a couple of rounds that I'm going to ride here in Berlin on this bike before I log into work. So I hope you enjoyed this little episode. If you did, don't forget to hit that like button. And with that, as always, I say thanks a lot for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.